And I'll get into that in just a moment here. We still don't really know why they chose to eat the tree. Perhaps there was curiosity. Perhaps they just wanted more than what God had already given them, which was everything. Perhaps it's just human nature. Remember, God created us with free will. Now, here's a few details I want to point out about the two trees. Number one, God forbids them from eating the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, but he never forbids them from partaking in the tree of life. Why is that? Number two, God says the tree of life is in the midst or the middle of the garden, but he does not specify where the tree of the knowledge of good and evil is located. Could be right next to each other, two trees side by side. Could be some distance apart in the garden. Number three, Eve states that they shall not eat when she's discussing with the serpent. She states that she shall not eat of the tree in the midst or the middle of the garden. Well, didn't we just see that God never specified where the tree of the knowledge of good and evil is? She wasn't referring to the tree of life because it was the tree of the knowledge of good and evil she ate from. So now I'm going to pose the question, could it be that to her, the tree of the knowledge of good and evil was the middle of her world? Number four, apparently they had never eaten from the tree of life. It was there. They were allowed to eat of it, and that was the tree that was in the middle of the garden. So maybe they lived on the edges of the garden and never got to the middle. We don't know. But once they ate of the forbidden fruit, God did not want them to grab on to the tree of life and have eternal life separated from him. So he cast them out of the garden. Again, it wasn't because they ate of the forbidden tree that they were cast out of the garden. It was because God did not want them to eat of the tree of life after they had discovered good and evil and live in sin for all eternity. I wonder how different the